Hey y'all, Nick Pomeroy here with PR Equipment. Today we're back in the showroom here in Currens. I wanted to talk about one of the tractors in the Massey Ferguson compact lineup. We spend lots and lots of time talking about utility tractors, mid-range tractors, high horsepower tractors, things like that. We haven't spent a lot of time lately talking about the compact series, and today we want to talk about specifically the 2E series from Massey Ferguson. If you're familiar with Massey Ferguson, you realize that this is just kind of the next generation of like the 2850, 2860E tractors that we sold for, I guess, about 5 years prior to this model coming out this year. But this is the newest generation, so this is the 2E. If you're looking for deals, you may still be able to find some 2850s or 2860s. I don't think we have any left. We might be able to source you one up. If you're looking for a deal, we could probably work that out for you. However, I really like the 2E series tractors. So this happens to be a 2E60, just a little shy of 60 horsepower. They call it a 60 horsepower tractor, but if you actually look at the specs, it's just a little shy. I think it's like maybe 58 horsepower or something like that, 59. There's also a 2E50, which is here again, just shy of that 50 horsepower. So it's just, I think it's like 47.5 or something like that. So really close, but we're calling it a 50 and a 60 horsepower tractor. Most manufacturers, never do they hit exactly at that 50 or 60. A couple transmission options to think about. You got a hydrostat, which new on the E series, the 2E series, is the side-by-side pedals as opposed to that treadle pedal, which we affectionately call the Kubota style. And we used it for quite a while too, but we've gone away from it entirely. So now everything's gonna be the twin pedal hydrostat that we love. The truth is, we've been kind of selling around it for a while because we had the treadle pedal on the E and the twin pedal on the M. But now the full lineup is gonna be twin pedal hydrostats, and I really like that. So kind of walking around and just talking about this. Who's gonna buy the 2E series tractor? So 50 horsepower, 60 horsepower, hydrostat, mechanical transmission options. Who's gonna purchase this tractor? So for me, actually, I don't have this large a tractor, but at some point I'm gonna upgrade, and this is my size of tractor. Maybe it's a little overkill. I've got 15 acres. Maybe it's a little overkill for me. I think this can serve folks all the way up to 50 acres. It just really depends on what you're doing with the tractor. But for me, the reason why I like it is because it's kind of the first size tractor that really moves hay really easily. And so I've got a handful of cows, and utilizing the 2E series tractor, you're not gonna be lacking for lift capacity when it comes to moving those hay bales. So this is the FL 2813X. It is a skid steer quick attach loader. All of them are in the Massey Ferguson lineup. You can, I guess technically there's still a pin-on style, but I don't know of anybody who would still order it that way. They're all gonna be the skid steer quick attach. One thing I also like is this steel leveling rod. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the fact that we've gone to the steel leveling rod. And they've been like this lighter weight tube, and we've had some issues with those. This is a much heavier duty setup for the leveling rod system. This is actually pretty important. So I don't know if you really realize it or not, but when you're setting up in the seat of this tractor, it's really hard to tell kind of where the bucket's level. Doesn't matter what brand of tractor it is, that's just how it works. This leveling rod kind of gives you a general idea of where level is. So whether you're trying to level maybe pallet forks or whether you're trying to level out dirt, whatever it is, that's really nice. But the big be-all end-all is skid steer quick attach leveling rod. But this FL 2813X is going to have roughly 3,000 pounds of lift capacity at the pivot pins. I guess this is my little segment, my little disclaimer into the fact that I really do not like how loaders are spec'd for the most part. So this pivot pin measurement is really not the best measurement, but it's what everybody else is using. So Kubotas, your Mahindras, your everybody else is going to give you that pivot pin measurement. The truth is, what you really care is when you get out here a little ways, because that's really where the lifting is done. And this machine still has plenty of lift capacity for your hay bales, even when we move away from the pivot pins. But here again, keeping true with what the industry's doing, you've got 28 or I think it's just a little north of 3,000 pounds of lift capacity at the pivot pins. Compare that to tractors in the same category, you're going to see that we beat most of them, if not all of them. It is a quick attach loader as far as being able to you can quickly remove the loader. Be honest with you, I don't know many people that do. I will say, if you've never done it, maybe you already own a tractor and you've never done it, if you're out shredding or maybe doing some tilling or something, at some point try it. take your loader off, run it without the loader. I think you'll be amazed at how much better it feels like the tractor handles, because these loaders are great. And honestly, it's probably the handiest thing that this tractor can do. But when you take the loader off, the ride quality changes, obviously the maneuverability changes. There's just a lot, and it's a different experience for your tractor. So if you ever get the opportunity, if you already own a tractor, or maybe you purchase one of these 2E tractors, highly suggest at some point, if you're doing something with the 3-point, take the loader off, and I think you'll really be impressed with kind of the difference. And that doesn't matter what color it is. There's something, most of these loaders never come off, and I think sometimes people miss out on that experience because we get too quick, right? We don't want to take the time to take it off, even though it's so quick with these quick removal pins and the brackets. You can have this loader off in 5-10 minutes tops, but we just don't do it. But anyway, that's a sidebar conversation. So anyway, moving on, this happens to be the 2E60, and this is the shuttle shift tractor. I'm a big fan of the gear shift tractor. Now you still have a clutch, so if you're new to tractors, you may want to consider the hydrostat version. Here again, that twin pedal, just above that treadle, right? So much more user-friendly, much easier, to learn. You don't get those cramps in the heels. I really like the twin pedal. We've talked, time and time again about that, but I really like that. So the shuttle shift, this is basically an 8x8 shuttle. It is synchronized 1 through 4 for you guys who don't really realize what that is. So there's a couple different ways for these gear shifts, these transmissions to shift, and there's straight cut gears, which we have. Our high and low is a straight cut gear. It's not synchronized, but we synchronize 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not as important for the range because typically you're stopped when you're going to be shifting that, but it is important because you will shift on the fly with 1, 2, 3, 4. And so to have that synchronization enables that shift to happen just a little bit easier. I like this transmission setup. And here again, talking a little bit about what we got when we went to this 2E from the 2800E. There's a handful of things. So this really nice rubber flat floor. I love that. It's kind of refined on this model. They've kind of changed the styling, the Sabre styling with the decals and whatnot. This darker black cowling in the dash is it's just a lot cleaner and more higher end feel. But the seat was a huge upgrade. I'm a big fan of the seat. It was something that needed to change. And on the 2E, we've gone to this higher back seat. It's just a much nicer feel, a little easier on your body as well. So anyway, one other big thing, and this is true on the 2800s and the 2Es, but ground level fueling. And it is protected. It's got a skid plate all the way underneath it. A lot of folks, they start worrying about maybe damaging it. The truth is, I don't know that we've ever put a fuel tank on. And I really enjoy when you go to fuel this tractor, or maybe the older versions, we can fuel so much easier because the majority of these tractors are fueled by fuel cans. And so we're not up here on top of the hood trying to maneuver that. We're right here. And even if you're filling up at a pump, or maybe you've got a tank on site, it's just a lot easier. And I really like that. So I'm a big fan. I know some people aren't. Another thing to talk about is tires. So there's a handful of tire options for these. If you're buying it from us, you're probably picking from 1 or 2 options, which is either the R4s, which is these industrial tires that have become so popular, or the new R14s, which is kind of that hybrid between the R1 Ag and the R4 industrial. We have some of those on the lot. You may also go with the pure R1, which is that Ag tread, that deep lug tread. It's great for traction, horrible for your yard. If you're using the R1s in your yard, your wife is probably going to get mad at you. The industrials do a lot better on turf, right? So, but maybe trade off a little bit of traction. That's where those R14s come in, and we're really kind of a big fan of those. One other thing, and hey, we're always learning here at PR Equipment, and this actually was news to me. And maybe I saw it somewhere in a video, but one of the things that we fought on prior models, and this is going back several models, was for folks that were working in maybe around trees a lot, maybe in, as we go further into East Texas, people were breaking these lights off, and they've now put them on a breakaway. Isn't that nifty? I'll be honest with you, until I hopped on this tractor a minute ago, I didn't even realize it. I looked up and saw that spring, and I was like, wait a minute, we made a change. Super cool. I'm glad to see that. We won't sell as many replacement lights, but hey, I'm a fan. Kind of moving around. One other thing that's kind of interesting as well is that we've now gone to one hydraulic remote is standard with the 2 outlets back here on all of these tractors. So I think that's pretty cool. where before it was like the gear tractors didn't come with a remote, but the hydrostats did. Now it's just kind of standard. And so one remote standard, you can add actually 2 or 3 remotes to this. So you can have a total of 3, I should say. But it's going to be nice for a lot of folks. I love having one standard because there's a lot of stuff you can kind of do with that one set of remotes. Maybe a hydraulic top link, if nothing else, is a really nice option. But a lot of these tractors can pull a small hay cutter, maybe an 8-foot like trailed mower, maybe even a small bat wing. We've got these new 10 and 12-foot flex wings that I really like. One day I'll splurge myself and grab one of those bigger shredders because I shred my 15 acres, and it may not sound like a lot, but I don't like to spend all day out there. I used to do it with a 5-foot cutter, and actually I think I've even got a 4-footer. It's kind of a beatdown. But a couple things also on the 3-point. Nothing has really changed from the 2800E, but things I just love to hit on and talk about how much I love is these telescopic ends. This isn't like something exclusive to Massey Ferguson, but I do love those telescopic ends. But one thing we do see on these as well is these combi balls. So this is what's called a Cat 2 or Cat 1 tractor. So you got a little bit more versatility in the implements that you use on this tractor, and I really like that. You will find when you're looking at a 50 horsepower tractor, there are some tractors out there that are still stuck on Cat 1 only. I like having the option to go to Cat 2 implements. You've just got more options, that you got plenty of rear pin lift capacity for those larger implements. And so being able to do that with the combi balls, I think is really cool. Still have the drawbar. It's actually tucked up inside. When you're not using it, you can keep it tucked up inside and out of the way. The big thing for that, and for y'all who maybe don't work around tractors a lot, you're gonna have your drive shaft. So if you're running a shredder or tiller or whatnot, you're gonna have your drive shaft connected to that tiller or shredder. And a lot of times that drawbar can get in the way if you're going deep with it and the angle of that drive shaft starts changing. That drawbar can be in the way. So I love the fact that we can kind of tuck those in and kind of hide that drawbar. As we kind of move around here again, just kind of hitting on the fact, just a premium tractor. I'm a big fan. We do have the foot throttle available there. Obviously steering brakes, which here again, for non-tractor folks, it is the ability. It's kind of a throws back to the older tractors where a lot of plowing was done. But it's basically differential braking, and so you can brake each rear tire independently if you want. Most people probably leave them locked, but if you ever need to turn real tight, you disconnect that brake, push the brake you want to go with, and you can turn very sharp. Something that's not thought about a lot all the time. It's not something that people use just all the time, but it is pretty nice. Obviously, 4-wheel drive is going to come standard on these tractors. Differential lock is going to come on these tractors as well. There's a lot of really cool features that come on them. I'm a big fan of these 2E tractors. I could see a 2E50 being in my future. Also adjustable rear wheels, so you can change the spacing on these rear wheels. There's just lots of stuff to like about them. So guys, I'm Nick Pomeroy with PR Equipment. Thanks for kind of watching. If you guys are in the market for a Massey Ferguson tractor, I don't really care where you're at. We'd love to sell you a tractor. We want to be your dealer. We also want to support you guys. We get tons of calls all over the nation. We do our best to help everybody. Obviously, your local dealer is your best outlet, but the truth is we know a ton about the Massey Ferguson product line, and we are here to help. So if you guys need parts, if you need anything like that, we have an online store for AGCO parts as well, so if you want to check that out. You can also check us out at either of our stores here in Kearns or up in Canton, where we're building a brand new store, and I'm really excited to show that to you, hopefully in, crossing our fingers, 6 months. But we do have these 2 stores to serve you. So kind of east and central Texas, we are your Massey Ferguson dealer, and we'd love to earn your business. Thanks, y'all.